Draft your LCS team and earn money. Alpha Draft.
Punishing that Tristana pick, but we are going to get in the champ select here for our second game between these two teams. Azir going to get banded there by Vici. They're on the blue side. Lissandra banded by IG, this time on the red side.
Yeah, so we see that once again they are playing Zatai and save for the second game. So no subs coming through here. It's exactly the same lineups that we saw last time, and you would expect that they would hit a couple of bans here. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually took Janna away from Mata.
Yeah, again, IG did not ban any champions in their first series. Not exactly sure why that was, whether it was, again, intentional or a penalty that they got, but they are going to get a bit more now. They've started to ban out, so should have a bit more of a normal draft here. Vici going to ban Sivir once again on the blue side this time around. IG now with their second ban.
Yeah, so looking to maybe take something very strong away, maybe like that Rek'Sai, maybe like the even Gnar that we saw get through until I think the 4th round of the drafts last time. That went across to save. Carry played a very impressive Rumble in the top lane. I guess with everyone shining through, he was kind of the guy that we harped on the least, but he definitely had an impressive performance as well. I think there's just too many weapons to ban everything away from Vici.
Yeah, Rek'Sai banned as well as Vici consider their last ban, and I almost have to suspect that Kassadin's going to get a ban here as well, because Hitong's Kassadin felt like the highlight of that team comp.
Yeah, it definitely got going early. Picked up a couple of early kills, and when you do that with Kassadin, it's very easy to start rolling through a team. And there wasn't many threats with, I guess, Kid having to scale up on that Tristana to do a lot of late game damage. So I think they can deal with that more through a change up in how they play the early game and try and get Kakao a little bit more aggressive in that lane if Kassadin is taken again.
Yeah, Janna seeing love here from Vici, banning it on the blue side despite it being a very good first pick and Mata's best champion in my opinion. So interesting moves there, and Invictus Gaming have a pretty tough choice to make here. For me, it kind of feels like between Gnar, Jarvan and Kassadin, and I can only take one of those away.
Yeah, it certainly does, or they leave all 3 up and take 2 for themselves.
It's just a matter, okay, which one do they want? They will ban the Cass though, but they'll get at least one strong champion. I mean, the 2 picks they get will be fine, but Vici are going to get first pick of those.
Yeah, it certainly will. I think that they've left a lot of the jungles up at this point, so I wouldn't be surprised if Vici ignored those. I think Dandy is fine on the Lee Sin, as we saw last game, or that Jarvan. Looking for more of maybe the Gnar in the top lane, although Jarvan being prioritized a lot by both teams.
Yeah, I mean, Kakao took it, and that is the first pick actually for Vici. No Gangplank, sadly, just had to have a giggle over that one. But yeah, Jarvan we've seen, it is a flex pick. We love to talk about that, and a strong jungler as well. Dandy's a fantastic Jarvan player, and so is Kakao.
Yeah, exactly. Dandy really popularized that and brought Jarvan back into the meta last season. We see that actually Gnar and Nocturne. Nocturne is such a fun pick. I'm not going to talk about it until Kakao locks it in, but he plays a fantastic Nocturne.
Yeah, we'd love to see Gnar as well. Save, again, played fine in lane. That's for me the biggest thing. Can Invictus Gaming bounce back from a pretty crushing loss there and just get the synergy going? Because again, if they want to play with these subs and have a big, deep roster to play with, then they're going to need to get everyone to have practice in, including Savin, because Zatai, there you go, Spawn.
Yeah, so Nocturne locked in. The most memorable Nocturne game I have ever seen is when Kakao played it into Samsung Blue when they were down in that series to pull a rabbit out of a hat and bring them back in, and he plays it carry style. Back then it used to be Feral Flare into the Blade of the Ruined King, so look for him to be extremely aggressive and go late game carry status on this.
Yeah, Gnar there as well for IG, so a great pickup there, and I think Invictus Gaming, if they're going to play this lineup, need to play a bit more aggressive. Get Kakao on something a bit more aggressive, you know, get Zatai on something crazy, give Save a champion he can make plays on, and be aggressive with your team, because this is the team that can get in people's faces and really crush them early.
Yeah, and Hitong needs to be careful here because he's a very immobile carry. If they throw Vasilion in a mobile carry, Kakao and Save might be able to wreak havoc on this backline.
Yeah, we've got Nami and Xerath there, the 2 picks for Vici. Nami was looking strong for Kitties in that game, going to get taken away here. And Xerath looked great for Zatai, actually. So, again, lots of popular champions being traded back and forth. Vici with a couple blocker picks here.
Yeah, so if they commit to this Fizz, they've committed to probably the heaviest dive comp you can put together. So that would be extremely difficult as a Xerath to play against, but it does mean that Kid does have to do a lot of self-peeling for himself in these scenarios.
Yeah, and we'll see. But for me, this if IG are going to run this lineup of players, this is the sort of comp they want to look to play. Now, we do swap things up a bit here. Last minute swap to Morgana, but Twitch is actually going to be the carry there for Kid.
Yeah, so I wonder if it is a mid-lane Morgana that we've seen a little bit of play, or that support Morgana, as we see Vasilia hovering that Tristana. If he does pick up Tristana, they might be able to run this into a 2v2 lane. Tristana does bully around Twitch a little bit, as all AD carries do, to be honest, but will be able to give that save that one-on-one in the top lane that he would like to go into.
And now Kid is going to take another late game carry here. He had Tristana in game 1, played a very strong game on it, but I like Twitch in particular with Nocturne just for a lot of stealthy engagement.
Yeah, and it's the engagement, and it's more that he has a smoother item build. They're a little bit cheaper than, I guess, the expensive Infinity Edge into the Static Shift. Is able to build up that Yomu's Ghostblade as a second item. So does get that nice 2-item spike with some armor pen in there.
Yeah, and there's the next 2 picks for Vici as well. The final draft picks will be Tristana and Aurelia, taking them in the AD carry and top lane position. So very well-rounded composition here from VG.
Yeah, so 2 people to dive, and not very much peel, I guess, except for the Nami, who does that kind of solo, and looking to just get Jarvan and Aurelia in there. The danger is that a lot of the people can just circumnavigate that, and if Kid comes out of stealth on a good position, could really light up the whole team.
And the question is, what is Zatai playing? Is it going to be an assassin? Will it be something absolutely insane? Zatai has so many picks up his sleeve. He's got a really big champion pool, and the one he decides to for this game, it's LeBlanc, and that is an assassin Zatai can get behind.
Yeah, so talking about things that can just bypass frontliners, they've got a Gnar that can jump over the top, a Nocturne that can just go in with that paranoia. Add a LeBlanc in there as well. There is just... no one will stand in that Cataclysm.
No, it's full speed ahead Invictus Gaming. Again, when we talk about Zatai and Save coming into this team and playing in a different Invictus Gaming lineup around Kakao and the rest of their team, this is the sort of comp we expect to see. So I love that they kind of threw out the standard comp they played in game 1 and go, you know what? We play this style. Let's just go all in.
Yeah, exactly right. And they've done it against an immobile AP carry. And unless Vasily really gets ahead early in this game, really won't have enough damage to deal with them either.
Yeah, and this could be a spectacular wreck potentially from IG, or it could be so much fun. There will be fireworks no matter what happens, but Invictus Gaming going to take something that really suits their mid and top laner especially.
Yeah, and I like the fact that they're willing to roll the dice on these guys, give them something that they play to their strengths, even if it isn't standard, and really try and go all in on this one.
And the thing again, you know, if you're going to play these people in your lineup and practice having different lineups with your subs, you need to practice and get exposure for these players on a big stage. But it's not just that. They need to play what you want to be playing when you sub them in, because you have a reason that you want to play a lineup versus another.
Yeah, exactly right. So both lineups can't do the same thing. So why not keep Rookie's lineup as a standard, because we mentioned how well he does play standard, and just let Zatai take over with some crazy picks.
Well, we'll see what happens. Crazy Zatai is coming right up after this. All right, welcome onto the Rift here for our second game between Vici Gaming and Invictus Gaming. Vici are on the left. They're up a game here in this best of 2, and IG looking to tie things up for the draw and a point here. Down a game, obviously, here with not a win yet in this particular series.
Yeah, so it looks like, once again, a little bit standard. People just fanning out, trying to get some deep wards on the top side of the map for Vici. But not much going to go down. And it looks like they're committed to standard lanes. No one going for those deep wards that really let you get those lane swaps that you want if you do run the Twitch.
And I think standard lanes are pretty comfortable here for both teams. We mentioned the bottom lanes already being pretty happy just to farm up and be fine. I mean, Twitch might struggle a bit here, but Kid's probably okay in the 2v2.
Yeah, I think that Kid definitely will be able to play his way through the lane. Marta is a person that really, I guess, dictates the lane, at least, on Vici's side. And the interesting matchup for me is the Aurelia versus Gnar, because we've seen it go either way. This seems to be what people like to pick into Gnar, just because you can get a little bit of early tank. And finally, the lane swap is coming out from both teams. So this is funny, because both teams really walked around the outside, so it looks like they're avoiding standard lanes, but they're going to run into each other anyway.
Yeah, I'm not sure who wants the lane swap. It seems like both teams do, but I guess that, you know, whatever, we'll settle into standard lanes. We're going to Australian it up here in the LPL and swap the map upside down.
Yeah, flip it over, send the AD and support duo into the top lane. As we see, Twitch, that raccoon, has actually been pinged out, and they're pulling away, so it is IG that are definitely trying to dodge this matchup.
Yeah. IG committing a lot harder to that lane swap. Morgana might stay up here, actually, but Kid, he does not want this at all, so he's going to move out. Save actually helping Kakao on the blue side of his jungle. Carry doing the same here with Dandy.
Yeah, and that means that Carry will, if he wants, commit to just going down there. They've seen that Kitties is in the top lane, so he can straight away start absorbing that CS and the, of course, experience of that lane. Yeah,
going to go do that as well. Kid will join him shortly in his 1v1, and poor Kitties trapped in the top lane here against Vasily Mata.
Yeah, I guess this means that they can't freeze as effectively as they would like. Kitties can drop that pull and try and shove a little bit harder. But as always, Vasily hasn't chucked a point into that explosive shot yet, so won't auto-push that wave.
Yeah, just seeing for a while, Kid going to pick up whatever CS he can. So Invictus Gaming get the lane they assume they want here, but that will leave probably Save potentially a bit behind, as he has now joined Kitties in the top lane.
Yeah, and they're sending Kitties into the red buff, actually, to try and help out Kakao, as we have a lot of aggression in the bottom lane.
Kid has to be careful. Big wave as well, walking towards him, takes a big chunk of damage.
Yeah, it certainly did, and we take another visit into this top lane. The wave's still pushing in Vici's favor, so that will start reversing, and Save will have a lot of trouble absorbing this CS.
I mean, he'll try now. Minina's not too bad at getting CS, but Vasily and Mats are going to get aggressive here. Tycole's bursting there for a level 2 only. Not the 2v2 we expected to have it in. Kakao now going to farm up his Krug as well. Again, probably hard farming the jungle early on.
Yeah, definitely will look to do that, but that once again, I think is in Vici's favor, because Dandy will be able to, on this Jarvan, affect lanes to a much better, I guess, standard than what a Nocturne will pre-6.
Yeah, Kakao, though, will go back now level 3 with his double box. Going to pick up his first jungle item, it seems like, and continue his pathing on from there. Vasily Mata now well and truly starting to push this lane back.
Yeah, so it looks like it's just going to sit here because they're trimming the wave nicely, but there's still a lot of ranged minions in there, the casters, that do affect the freeze more than the melee ones do. So as long as you have more caster minions, the wave will push in your favor.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here as Kid. We're going to farm up as well. You can see demonstrated nicely there. All of them caster minions whacking the poor caster minion to death. But Kid does get the last hit.
Yeah, so looks like we're getting a little bit more experience and, importantly, CS onto this Aurelia at this point in the game. Has a much bigger wave and plus 10 CS at this point in the game. And this will play very heavily into Vici's hands.
Yeah, and you can tell that all of the early movement really disfavored Vici. Both teams wanted to swap him. Invictus Gaming wanted it more, and they have paid the price in the early levels for it.
Yeah, and I think this is kind of a repeat of last game. Once again, a big team fight coming out of IG with all the dive champions that we've spoken about at length, but the early game just definitely going in VG's favor.
So we'll have to see here, Kid. Kind of a lot of pressure on his shoulders here to perform on this Twitch. He's been given a lot of space and a lot of gold here in this bottom half of the map, so we'll see what happens. Also got very few wards. I do like the early pink from IG. Going to spot that first gank from Dandy.
Yeah, but he has gone around down the leg, so need to be really careful here, Kid. They've already, I guess, looking to punish him for overextending.
Yeah, and again, whenever you swap, people kind of forget to ward sometimes, and Kid going to be in a whole host of trouble. Carry already started up. Actually, Kid going in. We're going to go aggressive. The tally comes in. Good flash there from Kid, but Dandy going to come after him. The teleport does not finish there. Dandy going to flash forward for the slow. The heal popped as well by Kid. Dandy still has blue buff as well for a little while longer. Does have the flag and drive back up. Will not Kid up. Does need the last hit, and Carry gets it with Blade Surge.
Yeah, and that's even worse. 22 CS and a kill now for this Aurelia. Miles ahead of Nara in the top lane, and that's terrifying. We said that they had a good team fight if they can get in there, but it doesn't even look like they're going to be that able to. They're already behind 1,000 gold.
Yeah, Save, they're going to go in. Does not have his ult, but wallops Vasily into the ground. Kitties misses his binding. Kakao is here, though. Mata getting slowed by the smite. He's actually a very squidgy target. That's a great black shield by Kitties. Going to dive in now as well, popping the dust. We're forcing the heal out, but IG no dice on the kill.
Yeah, so 2 summoner spells, burnt, flash, and heal, but at the end of the day, no kills coming through for that. So whilst a good effect on a first gank for a Nocturne, still heavily in VG's favor.
Yeah, and this is the issue. I feel like when IG's comp falls behind, Zatai getting stunned up there. That's great moves out of Tong. Now Dandy in there as well. Zatai has to dodge these ultis. There's one more bolt. That will miss, and he should be fine, but Dandy may be chasing in again.
Yeah, so that's how crazy Zatai is. I actually thought the closest clone was him at the start of that one, just because of how erratic the movement was, but guess baits the ultimate out. Zatai is one lane that is doing reasonably well, up 12 CS at this point, so a good affected gank there to get his flash out. But once again, this map movement from Dandy is definitely in the favor of Vici very strongly in the early game.
Yeah, and VG have dropped their bottom, their dual lane, back into the bottom. So we're going to reset here for standard-ish lanes. Kitty's still not quite joining his AD carry yet. And Kid going to continue struggling here, down 13 CS and counting.
Yeah, and what a bad spot for Save to be put in. Down 30 CS at this point in the game and a kill. That's a Sheen picked up for Aurelia. Going to have a very early Triforce, and don't want to be Nara in this situation.
No, he's got a massive level deficit as well. So Save going to have a bad time in the top lane for a short while here as Carry will relentlessly push in, and probably, if Save gives him a chance, Carry will go so aggressive.
Yeah, Save is 1,000 gold behind at this point of the game. That's only 7 minutes in, and 1,000 gold is a lot of cash.
And that's basically the gold difference between these two teams. So poor save. You know, the lead's pretty good this early on. 1,000 gold's nice, and that is all concentrated in the top lane there for Vici Gaming. Kakao now level 5, close to 6. Will hit it here if he does take this particular buff away.
Yeah, it looks like Zatai will rotate over, pick that one up on the LeBlanc. They're sending kitties once again into the jungle. Make sure they're scouting out where Dandy is. Not anywhere near that buff, is taking his red at the same time.
And one of the nice things, and we talk about this a lot in lane swap situations, is that the mid lane gets isolated when all these swaps are happening. So Zatai's actually got a nice little lead in the mid for himself.
Yeah, he's making up the gap between bottom and the two bottom sides, with Vasily doing very well. But I guess it's in the top lane where the real discrepancy is.
Yeah, and you know, that first dragon fight, which is always very important in these games, carry's going to be so strong coming into that first maybe 12, 16-minute dragon fight that comes out. So you're going to use the ult. Save will hit 6. He's has his ult now. He's transformed into Mega now, but Carry just going to abuse him here. Look at the heat 10 damage.
Yeah, and that just Equilibrium Strike plus Sheen, as once again, Dandy looking at this mid lane.
He's level 6 now. Zatai loves to play aggressively in forward. He's going to get slowed out here. Great knockup there for Dandy. Going to go in. Good patience on the distortion. Has to dodge the bolt, so does dodge one. Can't dodge the last one, though, and Hertong gets the kill.
Yeah, and straight away, blue buff goes over onto Hertong. Dandy had actually picked up his own, so that's why he was focusing in the mid lane, looking for a buff transfer there, and Kakao all of a sudden shoved out of his jungle as well, was able to get the red.
But the carry jungle Nocturne that, you know, we know from Kakao is maybe not getting the start he wanted here. His lanes are struggling early on, as Save is going to continue fighting Carry, who's just such a beast already on this Aurelia.
Yeah, and Save needs to be careful here. Nowhere near transforming, and Dandy once again looking to get aggressive in another lane.
And Dandy, he's almost playing a different just a different style from what we've seen. He's known for reactionary jungling, but when he thinks he can get ahead, he just tries to snowball.
Yeah, and I think it's because he's playing against Kakao. Kakao is very famous for wanting to abuse junglers who gank a lot and are unsuccessful and farm his own jungle, but Dandy has been anything but unsuccessful this game so far.
Kakao with an early Brutalizer, level 6 as well, so could get very aggressive in the bottom lane here. Kitties does not have level 6 for himself, but if a Binding lands here, or even if Kid just wants to get sneaky with his ult plus ambush, they could force a big fight in the bottom lane.
Yeah, but I think Kid has already put a tell there. There's actually a really good deep ward spotting out exactly where that is. As Save's getting dove in the top lane.
Yeah, Dandy coming in, doesn't have an ultimate, so can't quite close that distance. Save with his flash as well. Might have been okay. Carry low, there's Vasily. Going to go in onto Kid. Mata goes in, but that's a good exhaust coming through. The tidal wave will knock them both up here. Kid and Kiddies goes in. Buster shot, they're going to knock him away, and Kid cannot re-engage.
Yeah, no ultimate yet on Kitties. They do manage to pick up the pink ward. Did have to burn both the off summoner spells, not the flash, so that's the exhaust and the heal.
Yep, Hertong now going to, with his blue buff, continue following up. Again, a bit behind here against the Assassin LeBlanc, but Zatai has not been able to influence the map the way he wants, and Hertong's already there with his Morello Nomicon up, so he's having just a fine mid lane.
Yeah, so Zatai really needs to try and shove this out and go in and pack this bottom lane. Not able to get the Nocturne gank in first time round like they wanted to, so I think they're now a little bit more pressure on Zatai to try and get one of his other lanes ahead.
And that's, you know, Zatai's calling card as a player. He's a big carry mid lane player, but he needs room to grow him. Morello Nomicon's finished up for him now as well, so we'll see if he can impact some of these lanes. Build water done, plus the dagger there for Kid, but Invictus Gaming's bottom lane is going to feel very behind for so much of this game.
Yeah, as nice bind hits, but I think that Kid, even though he's 20 CS, will have an illusion of power once he picks up that Last Whisper, just because how much better that item is, not Last Whisper, Blade of the Ruin Kick, how much better that item is as a standalone in the first couple of team fights that will happen. So if he can get that at roughly the Dragon timer, they will feel like they can still fight just off the back of that one item buy.
And IG are going to want to delay that timer if they can, because Vici have such a big lead. I think the scary thing, though, is if they do that, Carry's probably going to have his Trinity Force.
Yeah, and this is dangerous from Kakao, going into the top lane to try and get Carry out of the game. But Dandy mirroring it in the bottom lane, and there's just that big objective down there, the Dragon, that they can take afterwards, even if this is successful.
Save going in, though, does Nari back. That's a good off from Kakao to close the gap. Carry, though, Blade Surges and flashes out of the way. The slow will miss there from the Yi, and Carry gets out scot-free.
And straight away, the ping onto the Dragon. Dandy just absolute perfect movement, able to pick up a free objective in this team. There is absolutely nothing IG can do about it.
IG kind of forced into bad choices here. Saves like, I need help, I'm struggling here in the top lane, and Dandy already waiting down. He either gets a kill on bot or he gets the Dragon. Beautiful choices.
Yeah, so once again, really good early game coming out of IG here. VG here. They've picked themselves up a 1,000 gold lead and the first Dragon, and they're starting to punish the greedy picks that came out.
Yeah, Vasily going in action onto Kid. Mata gets bound up there by Kiddies. Kid does have his ultimate, but doesn't pop it. Ambushes now as well, but Twitch just can't take these early trades. He's going to have to keep farming up a little more.
Yeah, he certainly is, and every single time they trade like that, Mata just heals Vasily up to full, whereas Kiddies isn't able to do the same, so it just gets worse and worse for the IG bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, Invictus Gaming's comp is all about, you know, starting those fights in the mid-game once they have their farm and really snowballing from that stage, because Morgana's great at protecting and Twitch, letting him free hit with that ultimate, but they don't have that situation right now, and the first dragon's already gone.
Yeah, and Vasily going back to shop, 2,300 gold, going to turn that into a massive power spike for himself. Against only a Bilgewater Cutlass, there aren't any other items coming out in the foreseeable future for Kid.
Vasily, interestingly, just didn't even want to go for Static Shiv. Actually just finished all of the components for his Infinity Edge. Is very close to finishing the actual item there as well.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's put 4 points into that explosive shot. Now starting to max that rapid fire, his Q, for a little bit more of attack speed.
Makes a lot of sense as well. Tycoil's Blessing from Mata going to help out there as well. And Vici Gaming once again in control here. Hertong even farming up nicely, caught up on Zatai.
Yeah, he certainly was able to poke him back. Zatai had to go back, was only able to pick up some wards and boots for himself. And once again, you feel Kakao not able to get around the map as good as Dandy. A lot of the pressure transfers over to the mid lane to Roman make something happen.
We'll have to see what happens here. Zatai really does want to have a more high impact game here on LeBlanc. He's a great assassin player. And his Aerith was fantastic, but just couldn't really get stuff going for his team. And again, it comes back to the same thing. Vici are in control here, and IG just can't get the synergy rolling.
Yeah, first turret falls. That's another 1,000 gold or so in the favor of Vici. And still, the Blade of the Ruined King not finished up for Twitch. No items finished up in the top lane for save. And now that's a Trinity Force Aurelia carry looking extremely potent in this early game.
And I think the thing to think about as well with these comps is Invictus Gaming, unless they got snowballing, we're always going to have a very passive laning phase. So they're going to have a lot of unexciting gameplay until they do hit their items. And from here, it's just damage control. How much can they afford to give away, or how much damage can they control while they try and hit these big 2-3 item power spikes?
Yeah, I think they would have expected Kakao to have a little bit better of a level 6. I think they missed a couple of crucial windows. And that was getting a Blade of the Ruined King at about 12 minutes and trying to get a gank onto the mid lane as Save gets aggressed on.
Yeah, Save is going to get dumped on by carry here. Minina not real good against Aurelia here, especially one with a quick Trinity Force.
Yeah, all of a sudden, a lot of members in the top lane. It's 5 versus 3 at the moment. Save, Zatai, and Kakao versus a whole Vici lineup.
Well, party in the top lane. Here's Zatai and Kakao are up, but Mata actually might get caught. A good ward there, though, sensing that there might be IG roams here. And carry now looking to jump in. Save actually going to get Dope here. Aerith ultimate will come out, looking for the last time. Dandy goes in for the dunk. And he does get the kill.
And that Jarvan can just transfer so much ground when he wants to. Didn't even use the flash there. They're able to pick up the second turret of the game, and there is absolutely nothing Invictus Gaming can do about it.
No, and Vici getting aggressive. And I think this is, for me, the hallmark of confident Dandy and Mata play. When they feel comfortable and they feel ahead, they just play so aggressively for normally very reactionary players.
Yeah, definitely, and they're just looking so confident, even burning the teleport into the bottom lane for Carry to be able to pick up that nice big CS wave, so he's not missing a beat right now. 40 CS up over Save.
Yeah, I feel like when Dandy's ganking your lanes over and over again, things are going wrong. And Dandy has ganked a lot in this game especially.
Yeah, and this is just not the play we're used to seeing from Kakao. Normally used to dictating flow of game. He's 0-0-0 after what was a poor first game. Really carried that over into the second.
Yeah, we'll see here again. If he can get some items going, he might be able to get some other moves going in. But just everyone on IG needs gold here. And there's just not that much on the map left to give. The next dragon's going to be up in a minute 50 or so. And they're going to want to make sure they hit that. But Invictus Gaming can probably not fight at that dragon.
Yeah, so they're going to have to stall. They have picked up the Blade of the Ruined King and needlessly large rods for their 2 carries, so they're in better positions, but when you compare to what they're against, the Trinity Force Aurelia, this Jarvan that's just getting so tanky this early in the game, they're really in a lot of trouble.
Kid going to fire off there. Does a bit of damage to carry, but I would be very scared of this Aurelia if I was this Twitch.
Yeah, I think just trying to bait it in for maybe a little bit of the turret dive with 2 members on the side there. Wasn't able to do so. Very patient play coming out of carry, and at the moment, Vici know they don't have to force. They're scaling very nicely, have a much more standard team comp across the board, and when you get ahead playing standard and desperation, I guess, moves start coming out of the opposition team, there's not really much that IG can do.
Yeah, 5 people roaming in here for Vici as well. Kakao looking to go in onto Hotong. Damage actually coming in. But they're just going to stun him up and blow him to pieces. The tie dives in as well, but gets eaten there by Carry and exhausted. Oh, Vasily actually going in for the resets. Maybe a little too deep. Save kill to Tong there, but Vasily gets a kill for himself. That's 3 for 1 there in favor of Vici. Make it 4-1.
Yeah, and straight away, we mentioned desperation plays that start coming through from substandard team comps, and there it is right there. If they didn't snowball this game and get ahead through the LeBlanc Nocturne combination, they're just going to fall further and further behind. This game probably out of reach now for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, it's going to be 6,000 gold down very quickly here. Invictus Gaming just not looking quite as together without Rookie back in that mid lane position, and Pokemon playing very safe standard now, Kai.
Yeah, so once again, when the laners try and dictate, it just looks like it's not going their way. Kakao is having an absolute nightmare of a series this time around. Dove in to start that fight up, but he's just so squishy at this point. We'll find that his jungle's been taken away from Dandy as well.
Yep, Dandy just, again, plays so confident when he's ahead because he just knows everything's going right here. Kakao tries to get the fear, does get it just on the end, but Dandy is already safely across the wall. Dragon is back up now as well. That will be the first for IG and the second for VG if they go for it.
Yeah, and this is a massive test now for IG. I don't think they can win this game, but how do they play it out? Are they going to be positive in their language? Because so far, they've been dictated to, and if there's anything Kakao dislikes, it's someone invading his jungle over and over again, taking away some of that gold, and he's just, yeah, Dandy's been much more effective. 1-0-6 compared to 0-1-1.
Yeah, Dandy just seems like he's back to Worlds for Tong. Going on to Kid. There's the first bolt. There's the second. Third bolt not going to hit. Probably would have been a kill. There's Tong actually low now. Has to be careful. But Save's going to come in as well. Carry will dive in onto Kitties. That is an absurd amount of Aurelia damage. Dandy going in for the dunk. Finds in and onto Kitties, and Kitties nowhere to go. Gets killed.
Yeah, Dandy is coming up absolutely massive. Zatai forced to run away now as well, and just in time for the Dragon, they'll be able to pick up another one for themselves.
Yeah, and Vici just getting deep vision down, picking people off if they need to, and continuing to run down the hill with a big snowball being pushed by all 5 members.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of stubbornness coming out of Kakao here, still committing very heavily to this damage build that we spoke about. It's fantastic if you're rolling, but at this point, he's just going to get blown up by any member he tries to engage upon.
I mean, I don't know if Invictus Gaming have other good options here. I mean, they could go all in on the Kid late game with Twitch, but if you're going to play this team, I think you test it like you're supposed to, even if you're behind, because this is the aggressive IG lineup. They need to, I think, at least test their aggression.
Yeah, and I guess a couple of mid-games items coming out now. Save's just gone for a Sunfire Cape to maybe get himself a little bit more damage now. Won't be as good as a Randuin's Omen later on in the game, and has put himself in a little bit of a hole with that build, especially since he's still 30 CS behind. Interesting to see how it plays out, because as you mentioned, if they are going to commit, you should go all on.
Yeah, Kid going to go in there. Kakao diving in. This is what IG need. They pick up a kill. Mata coming in now as well. Good Toto is going to get both. The Black Shield helps Kakao, but Kid is going to get eaten alive by Carry. Kakao now running as well. Vasily looking for resets. Oh, Carry, that was amazing play as well. Blade turning to the Scuttle Crab, trying to chase Kakao. Kakao's got nowhere to go. Gets EQ strike, and Aurelia gets a double kill.
Yeah, so able to pick up a kill for themselves by going extremely deep, but how much of the cost?
Zatai going in, Dandy now going in as well. Save off to the side. Kitty's getting aggressed on, gets chased down by Dandy, who gets that kill for himself along with Carry. Vasily just rocket jumping forward. Vici are just, they feel so comfortable.
Yeah, they're just too far ahead at this point. 8,000 gold at 20 minutes mark. 10,000 used to be a difficult hole to pull yourself from. With 2 Dragons, that's pretty much the equivalent on this patch now. And yeah, once again, rolling the dice, going nice and aggressive. You can't fault them for running into their game plan, but Vici are just way too strong.
Yeah, and be curious to see if Invictus Gaming, not if they ever run this again, because I'm sure they'll run these players again. They didn't pick them up to not put them in their rosters when in games, but I wonder if maybe they'll go off and behind the scenes get some more practice in and stuff, because with the starting roster looked great. IG were undefeated coming into this match and looking to take an 0-2 here against Vici Gaming, a team that has done well but not that well. Kakao has found some friends here. Dandy a little too aggressively far forward, but actually it doesn't matter. Tong just picks up Kid.
Yeah, it just takes Kid off the map from mid lane. And once again, Kakao, ooh.
Actually gets the kill into Dandy. Zatai gets that first kill. Martin now getting chased as well. Little too aggressive maybe for Vici.
Yeah, but look at the damages coming out of the 2 carries.
Giddies, I'm so sorry, but you are going to get killed. Vasily takes that one out. Carry going to chase Save out of his own jungle now as well, as the Mini-Nara is just trying to bounce out towards the safety of his tier 2 turret.
Yeah, so in the end, trade 2 for 3, so probably the best trade so far, but carry. There's not two carries. Vici and Hetong are just very, very strong at this part of the game, able to do so much work. And Dandy just takes so much killing that if they actually get him down, they've just invested so many abilities to do so.
Yeah, and Vici's play at this point might be called a little showboaty because they are getting aggressive and showing off in places as well. They know they probably shouldn't be as aggressively far forward as they are, but they're so far ahead, I just don't think they really care.
Yeah, and I think that this is good because for Vici because this is the kind of game they needed. They split against Gamti yesterday, who we know they wanted to clean sweep. So getting a little bit of a confidence boost, bringing the team together, maybe more positive gameplay that can come out of them will dictate how they play the games next week.
Yeah, but it is the last game of the weekend, as you noted. So, not going to get anything more out of maybe another match tomorrow, but just getting confidence moving in, testing the limits of your championing your team, getting that communication synergized. There are games that are played where you feel like you learn a lot strategically and mechanically and that you get to learn new things, and other games you just want to feel good. This is one of those games for Vici.
Yeah, I definitely agree that this is just one of those feel-good moments, and on a new team, on any team, it's definitely important to enjoy the way that you play, and it looks like Vici are having an absolute field day this time around.
Vici down the bottom, just casually pushing 3-0-8 on Tristana. I think Vici has had a much better weekend, I have to say. He's looked more informed when he was back in NALCS. Now in China, a big competitive region for AD carries. Oh, Carry. Now getting aggressive on 4 members, and then we get 5 actually for IG. Can Carry get out of this one? It might not matter. Vici just pushing it. Carry going to look to buy some time. He's still alive, actually. Does get slowed down. It's a tie going to get eaten, though, by Aurelia. Carry takes him out. He's still in here. It's 1v3 still. Carry going to go in. Almost kills Kid again, but Kid will get the 500 gold.
And how far ahead is this Vici lineup? Just able to trade 1-for-1 in a 5v1 scenario. Meanwhile, Azatong trying to chunk our Kid.
I think so, yeah. He was looking for a kill. Kakal's actually ulted in on, trying to jump in on top of Hetong. Mato is here as well. The good speed up, actually. Taro follows in. Also, Kid's got to be careful. Heal does get popped at there. Hetong will flash out of the way. The Rat-a-tat-tat-though will pick up Mato, and Kid is getting some kills. Oh, snipe, though. He gets to get Dandy. Oh, my God. He goes in. He wants to dunk Kid so bad.
This is so funny to watch. Kakao had the dancing shoes on that whole way through. I think dodged out 5. Wow, Dandy.
He's going in. Doesn't get Kid, though.
Little care given towards the end of this game as people are just starting to, I guess, put on a little bit of a crowd pleaser.
They seem to have run out of mundos, do Vici, but they are playing like they're ahead, and boy, are they ahead. This will be a real good game to finish off their weekend. And Invictus Gaming going to be sad to probably lose a point here.
Yeah, definitely not going to be able to pick up any of the points in this time round, so we'll fall to a 6-2 record. It looks at this stage. Of course, miracles can happen, and they're probably praying for one.
I think maybe a couple here as Invictus Gaming just run out of space on this map to farm with. I mean, I always hate to call the game before it's over, but it's just Vici playing so confidently.
Yeah, Dandy scouting out this red buff as well. Kakao doesn't have a jungle left. He's just relegated to whatever side of the map that Dandy is not on. Maybe at this point, probably better off farming Dandy's jungle just to get as far away from the other jungle as possible.
I mean, Dandy is probably not in his jungle at this point, so that's a good point. And I think for IG, again, they're playing their substitute players. That can't be understated here, and they want to get their testing. IG just need to find a way to get some value out of this game, because it's really unlikely that they're going to win it. So get something, whether it's keeping the practice up, getting the communication down, thinking about what went wrong. They can't let it be a thrower, even though it's likely a loss.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. A lot of games come down, because you're going to lose a lot of games when you play League of Legends, but it comes down to how you lose them. Do you do it playing proactively, or do you just roll over? So I like the fact they're still committed to this. Kakao now picked up another pickaxe, so he's definitely committed to this build. And yeah, try and go all out and get something from it.
And IG do have some items. If they can find a lot of picks here onto Vici, they will make at least a little headway here. 10,000 gold in the hole, though. Third dragon going to come up for Vici now as well. Invictus Gaming running out of time here in this particular game.
Yeah, so the tactic is to avoid carry, because they can't go anywhere near Aurelia at this point. Try and get onto Hetong, maybe even onto Vici if they can burn his rocket jump, and try and blow those 2 members up, grab some gold onto themselves. But at all costs, if you see carry, leave the screen. Yeah,
Mata's a good pick as well if he's a little too aggressive warding your jungle as well. But yeah, stay away from this man right here. This Aurelia is real scary right now. 7-1-3. Oh my God, that gold difference is disgusting. Zatai, though, does get a kill into Vici. Yeah. So of all the people getting gold, he's actually getting quite a lot of it.
Yeah, so Zatai 2, 3, and 4 now has that death cap as well as a Sork boot. So he's starting to get, I guess, into the sweet-ish spot for LeBlanc. Would love a Void Star for that.
Save actually finding Dandy in Mega now form. Going to wallop Dandy. throw a rock at him and run away. And Vici are actually dropping a little bit of their aggressive ward coverage. I like the deep pink ward in the top left-hand side of the map, but they probably want to get a bit more proactive with at least the vision control.
Yeah, they do need to keep their carry safe. As Cacao goes back and finishes up that more of Mal Mortius now. Yeah, the reason because if you start getting shutdown goals, League of Legends is a fickle game and can turn around extremely quickly. As the game goes longer, one pick can nearly spell doom here. So yeah, they need to get their vision out, really push back into the jungle, starve IG of resources, and just methodically finish out this game.
Yeah, and the other thing as well here, it is a loss here. IG will be bemoaning the fact they didn't pick up a point here in this series. Most likely, again, there are miracles on the table for them to aspire to, but Vici just so far ahead. But again, we haven't talked about it that much on the broadcast, actually. There's a lot of games you have to play in the LPL. People, maybe calling out Dade a little bit, saying he's not playing that well. He doesn't have to play well right now. He's got 44 games to play to start getting going, and then there's playoffs as well. These guys have a lot of practice to get in, and IG at least needed to get Save and Zatai onto the stage.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and it's a very valid point to raise of not peaking too early in the season. So Vici, on one hand, it's starting to get rolling now and coming together more as a team, and they have more time to mature. And as you said, IG have a lot of time to experiment with their lineup and make necessary mistakes now, so they're not making any in playoffs.
Yeah, and these are the sort of substitutions that you have to make at one point. Why not now? You've already had a great start to your LPL with 6-0. Take a couple losses here and there and just accept what's going on. Kid, unfortunately, that beautiful KDA is getting slightly ruined by this series.
Yeah, and I just took a look at the run that IG has had into this game. They played a couple of the lower teams at the moment, so maybe that will play on their mind now running into VG, who we did expect to be a little bit better than what they've performed so far. So there are a little different, a couple of undertones that are going on in this game, Pastry Time, that will be playing on the players' minds.
Yeah, we'll have to see those. I mean, IG continuing to play proactively here for the last few minutes. But Vici are grouping together. They don't have a Xerath. They have to actually be careful. All of IG here. Carry going to dive in on top. Kitty's going to look for the bind. Carry just going in onto Cacao. Dandy going to duck Kid, though, as well. Now the tidal wave going to come through. Exhaust down as well. Dandy getting aggressed on Vasily. Gets that first kill. Cacao running away on no health. There's a tie. Getting chunked up by Vasily as well. Crit to death. That's 2 kills for 1 there as Dandy did go down. Kid has to dodge the ulti. Nowhere good to go there. Vasily with the double. Maybe make it a triple. Does, in fact. Nope, just the double.
Yeah, so just bouncing around on the Tristana and carry. Wow, that guy just zoned the whole team by himself. As soon as they saw anyone, they were like, I don't even think we can kill carry. We need to get out of here. And the long-range snipes coming out of Fatong, the bouncing coming through from Vasily. Just all-round good team fight.
The casual 4v5 there from Vici as well. Xerath did actually come in for the ulti with that long-range spell, so that he did add to the end of that fight here, but inhibitors falling now for IG. Vici Gaming looking to close out this game in quite the stylistic fashion, I think I'll use there. They've been playing for fun. They're having a lot of fun here in this series.
Yeah, so this is a pretty convincing series so far from Vici, I think we can say.
Big gold leads there as well. Those numbers are not good if you're an Invictus Gaming fan. There's just so many. Carry so far ahead. Like, it's ridiculous.
That guy's an absolute monster. Maybe even look for him to go for a second offensive item at this point in the game. There's no one that can touch him anyway. If he picks up some lifesteal, maybe a Blade of the Ruined King or even a Bloodthirster, he's going to be even more hard to deal with.
Oh, God. We could see maybe potential 1v5 action. I mean, Carry's already initiating like he's the only member of his team, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see him maybe go a bit more offensive. And again, a big boost of morale here for Vici. Their record has not been nearly as good as Invictus Gaming's leading up to this series, especially with their loss yesterday to Gumty. So Vici are just going to be happy to, have a series here, get a really dominating win. And I think that was a smite steal by Dandy, actually. What a cheeky bugger.
Yeah, he certainly is playing this game extremely confidently. We've touched on IG's run so far and how maybe they might have had a more easy run than a couple of other teams. Vici's definitely had one of the more difficult ones. They ran into OMG, I think, first time round, and then EDG, where they lost both games. Able to split with Gumty, which is maybe the one surprise out of that. So picking up a couple of games against IG here does put them back to where maybe people expected them to be at this point in the series.
Yeah, a bit more middle of the pack in the standings there as well, as we're going to close out this second weekend of LPL. Remember, we have a best of 2 following this as well. There's more LPL to watch, and this game is possibly a foregone conclusion. It certainly seems that way as Vici Gaming are maybe toying with their feet a little bit here, but IG, they're staying in this game, and you have to respect that as well.
Yeah, I think at this point you just respect the LeBlanc a little bit as well, as that Kid unloads.
He's going in. He's actually got a black shield on top. Kakao going to dive in the back, but Carry just going through people. That's 2 kills for 1 there. YG still ahead somehow in this fight, but Carry, he's going to rip through people. There's the double coming through. Now Vasily going to jump in as well. Carry maybe going to try and himself a triple. Good Nara ultimate though from Save. They're going to back off here. 2 for 2, not a bad trade.
Yeah, definitely not. And you see the potential of this Invictus Gaming lineup with a 14,000 gold deficit. That's exactly what they were looking for, a flank and then just dive in there. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off in the long run, but they were able to remove a couple of people quite easily.
And you know what? I love how Morgana support has been played in a lot of these Chinese comps. We don't get to touch on it too much because, again, IG have had a rough game here. But the Chinese almost exclusively play Morgana to get their hyper carries closer to the enemy.
Yeah, it's an offensive pickup in that regard. Put the black shield on, give them the freedom to not have to worry about CC. As we see Kitty's going for the heroic Baron steal.
Oh, going to throw the biting out. Can he fish for it? Goes in! Oh, no, can't quite get it. Dandy does pick up the Baron.
That was so close by Zatai when he dove in there with both of the distortions, going over 2 walls as well. So quite a tricky play there, not able to pick that one up. Dandy is a pretty steady hand with that smite.
Yeah, as always, smiting under pressure very well is Dandy. And Vici Gaming just have an embarrassment of riches. QSS is done here for Vasily with his 3 power items. 3 big items done for Hetong Xerath as well. Tanks everywhere on the VG side. And there's a Brutalizer in Carry's inventory.
Yeah, why not? Just do some damage now. He's at the point of the game where he's pretty much unkillable for everyone on the other lineup. So maybe get a Youmu's in there and get some work. Helps him with his sticking power.
Yeah, sure. Youmu's Ghostblade done here. This is something that Invictus Gaming's old top laner used to do, by the way. PDD was the master of the mana Ghostblade. He used to love building it on his head. That guy already built full damage on everyone. And again, Vici are going to feel so good. If we had player cams after this, you would just see their faces light up after a win like this.
Yeah, and Carry must feel fantastic. 10-1-6 on an Aurelia going in to save one of the best top laners in the world at this point. And yeah, now that he's got that Youmu's Ghostblade, he's going to tear Kid apart if he gets on top of it.
And he will indeed. It's so hard to get Aurelia off anyone, let alone your immobile Twitch here. So Kid, very much fearing for his life here. Pinkwood's being placed down as well. Vici just putting on a clinic on closing a game as well. They've just played very, very patient and very clean.
Yeah, and Vasily tearing through structures there. Look for one final engage. If we've seen anything from this series so far, it's that IG will not roll over. Look for them to go in.
Yeah, they're not afraid. They're going to lose all 3 inhibs, but they might just go in. Save going to get chunked out actually by Xerath, who's doing a pretty insane amount of damage. Carry's positioning as well, so aggressive on this Aurelia.
Yeah, so just waiting for the super minions to push into the base, finishing this one out nice and, I guess, tutorial style, but you'll think there's one last roll of the dice in this.
Yeah, I think so too. Invictus Gaming, do they want to give it one last hurrah? At least try and get a couple kills maybe. We'll see what happens here. But losing turrets so far, there are so many Brandon. Super minutes save, going to dive in the back. He'll give it a go, but he's going to die very quickly. Kakao diving in the back as well. So Ty getting soloed out by Dandy. Kakao does go down there. Tristana gets a kill. Xerath actually died though to Kakao, but it's a 2-for-1 trade. Make it a 3-for-1, 4-for-1 Kid left somewhere in the base, maybe hiding in his front, saying, I don't want anything to do with this. And Vici Gaming going to take it 2-0 versus IG.
Yeah, and I think both teams would have finished in that game smiling. Kakao was probably the worth in all chat, but at the end of the day, Vici coming up absolutely massive.
Yeah, and again, such a confidence boost for Vici. 3 key points as well for their 2-0 versus IG. And Invictus Gaming, you know, they threw out the experiment. They had to get their subs and get them some practice. Didn't work out that time. Not the same level of coordination we've seen from Rookie and Pokemon, but a good showing regardless from IG.
Yeah, they definitely came in and ran their comp to their strength, so you got to give them credit for that. But on the other side of the rift, Vici from start to finish just played it immaculately.
Yeah, and we're going to watch a bit more of Vici. A replay is going to be queued up now, and we'll see just how much fun they were having in this game.
Okay, so this is the unkillable Carry in the top lane. So if we roll this one out, they think Carry's by himself. Look where Xerath is on the map, by the way. So at best, this is a 4v5. So as the transform comes through, they try and go in, and then they see the rest of the lineup, and Kakao's like, I'm out of here, dude. Save, you're on your own. Kakao gets completely chunked out. Has to use his ultimate just for vision, and from here, Carry is just an absolute beast with Vasily on the backline doing as much damage as you would like. They mow down Zatai there, able to get in on Kid, who has to put his dancing shoes on to try and dodge some of these out. Just not enough, and they go 4-for-1. 4-for-1 in a 4v5.
Yeah, Danny dying there eventually, but he went in so deep to start off that fight. And Vici just, I mean, insanely far ahead at that point in the game, but deservedly so. They played so controlled through both those games.
Yeah, and a completely different game style coming out of Vici, much more what we expected.
Yeah, well, we'll see. That's a great win there for Vici. They'll continue on very happy with the end of their weekend. We have one last best of two to play here. The English coverage of the Chinese LPL would continue just after this.